Ahoy friends, welcome to building the Alpha Dory. I'm Dan and this is a project to build a Chamberlain Alpha Dory to the lines in John Gardner's The Dory book. Illustrations by Sam Manning. Today we're going to be out in the shop getting the shear strakes ready to hang. Let's get out there and get to it. Yeah, just a real sort of nasty, drizzly, chilly day out here in the shop. Let's get in out of the mist and see what needs doing. Yeah, so I believe last episode we left off about to cut the stem to for the shear strake. So let's finish that up and then get on to hanging the planks. Yeah, so it looks like we already marked the stem here where that strake's going to be landing. So now we can get the plank out of the way. Yeah, you can see the line right there, pencil line. And I think what I'll do is I'll actually clamp the strake just below where I'm going to be cutting. And that'll allow me to get that line just right. So I want to make sure that the saw cut is going to be at the same height as the other plank, and at the angle of the top edge of this plank. Alright, looks good. That's it. Now we can take out the wood with the chisel. Move that batten out of the way that I keep stepping on. So what I'm doing is cutting the bevel in the stem to accept the plank now that we know where that plank is going to end up. Because when we started planking the boat, however many days, weeks, months, however long it takes to plank the boat, when you start planking it, you don't know where this plank is going to end up. You're not within a hair's breadth. You've got a general idea where you'd like it to end up, but it's silly to try and adjust the planks as you go to end up in a specific spot. I think of the amount of cutting and fitting and care it would take to get each one of these planks to have the final plank land right there specifically, with having all the bevels be good and everything else. This way you just build the boat where the plank lands is where you cut the bevel to. And that'll go in there good. And see, the nail's going to pull that in just fine. And looking good on both sides. I might take off a little bit more on the bevel on this side. Looks good though. Okay, so we've got that bevel cut. We should be ready to hang this plank. It's clamped on in a couple places there. I'm going to check the height at the stern, and I'll reclamp this. So that looks good. Got this in nice and tight. And the nail's going to pull that in, so that's good. Alright, let's go take a look at the transom, make sure we're good back there. And then be ready to go. Alright, Alright, so back here I've got the support that holds the board, that holds the transom, is actually rubbing up against the plank we're putting on here, so it's keeping it from pushing in, coming in tight to the transom. So we know what the length of this shear plank is going to be now that we've fit the stem there. So at this point we can saw this plank shorter, and then we'll be able to get in there and put the plank on the transom nice and tight. It's got to. There we go. Get it. Okay, so now you see this will go right in there and right up against the transom. So that's ready to roll. Kick stick to hold that in there. Yeah, there we go. Looks good. Also get this clamp to go on there. Yeah. Nice. Alright. Okay, so yeah, we look good on the bevel along the bottom edge here. Alright, so we're looking good along the length of the plank. This is not a lot to come in there. We're tied up against here tight on the front frame, tight on this frame, and we've got a fair curve along the plank too, so we're not bending the plank out of shape or whatever. I'm really loving the flare at the bow that this boat is developing, which I don't remember the plywood planked boat having quite as much flare as this. I know it did. It did have some hollow to the garboards for sure in that first plank, but I'm just, yeah, the way this boat is coming together, it's just, yeah, it's looking good. Okay, so, yeah, ready to hang that plank. Yeah, but maybe before we put that plank on, maybe just a little few-minute warm-up over here by the kerosene stove. I like to oh yeah, tea is steaming. If you leave the mug with the handle hanging off the back, there's a lot of air circulation around the stove because it's pulling in a lot of air, and then the heat is coming out the top. So if you just hang the mug handle over the back, it stays nice and cool. Meanwhile, your tea is steaming. Can't hang out here for too long, I'll go to sleep. Yeah, well, it's toasty warm right here. Actually got a pretty good look at the lines of the hull from here too. Yeah, we know there's going to be a bit of wood to take off on the bottom edge of that first knuckle plank, but it actually looks pretty close to where we want it. Like I was saying earlier, the bottom is going to get a coat of glass up to and including the garboard plank, so the flat bottom and then the first plank will be glassed, and then where that second plank starts, it's a perfect spot to trim the glass, trim it while the glue is still soft, and yeah, it comes out really pretty slick. And that lets you put the boat in the water and take it out again, and then put it in again and take it out, and let it dry and swell and dry without leaking. Typically, if you paint the bottom and look it over in the spring, when you put the Dory in, it won't leak anyway. If you've given it a coat of bottom paint and puttied any open seams you saw. So it'll be tight. This is just with a traditional bottom, it won't even leak. And it'll be good for the summer. But then if you're trailering the boat, if you put it in, for much more than a couple hours, for a day or two or three, and then it'll swell, and then when it shrinks again, it'll push any putty or paint out of the seams. And this is, typically with an older boat. And so then when you put it in again, it'll leak a little bit. And each time you take it out and dry it out and put it back in, it'll leak more and more because you're pushing more of you're opening those seams up. And a new boat, won't do that anywhere near as much, but it will, eventually it'll start leaking a bit when you put it in. But if you put that coat of glass over the bottom, it's usually good for years, until everything wears out over time. Eventually the glass will crack, it'll start weeping a bit as well, but it's easy to grind it down and put on another coat. But lasts quite a bit longer than just the traditional caulking. I might need to tighten up a couple of these rivets, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Alright, well, I'm not going to let you guys watch me fall asleep here, so I'll start the video again when I'm nailing the plank on. Alright, so we got the nails here. Got the drill ready to roll. Snag a hammer. Let's see, probably want the nail set at some point. But we don't need it right now. Yeah, looks like I got just enough ring nails. I don't know if you've been watching since the trip to Rose Marine, but if you have, I bought out the last of their I think it's number 10 ring nails. So yeah, just enough. Didn't get too many, that's for sure. Alright, here goes. And we'll put 2 nails in the end of this plank. Because it's the last one going on this side. So this second nail is going to go on low enough so that I'll be catching the plank below it, top edge. begins. Next one is I can actually no reason. So I'm just feeling where the plank is using the bubbles, but I just want to make sure that at no point do I have the plank edge above the bevel that I've cut in the plank below it. If it's below, it's not a big deal. You can cut this plank back to the bevel, which we're going to be doing definitely on the plank below it, so it's not a big deal. So what we don't want is the plank above the bevel, because then you don't have material to cut back. You're short, you're not long, so you can always cut it shorter. It's tough to cut it longer. I want to count these nails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the transom. So 7, 8 per side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 2 left in the box. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get more ring nails because we are definitely going to use more on this build. We're going to want ring nails in the top edge of the plank too, so that's going to bring it from 8 per side to 12 per side. So yes, looks good. We were looking at colors the other day, paint colors. So I got some paint cans out here on the, talking about maybe a beige, I guess, for the bottom on the inside. It's either that or a light green, I guess, at the moment. Trying to decide between them. And then we're thinking gonna oil the next 3 planks, and then the sheer plank will be painted as well on the inside, and the outside's gonna be traditional finish. Red bottom and white top sides, at least to start. And yeah, we can figure it out from there, I guess, but it's going to be such a sweet boat. So I'm putting these nails through the plank I'm nailing on, and also through the top edge of the plank below. So I'm fastening 2 planks with 1 nail. Alright, we're still in the right spot back at the transom. You just gotta keep checking, because you don't want some clamp to pop off, and you just go merrily nailing along until you get back to the stern. You're about to put the plank on the transom, and it's like off by an inch. At that point, you can't fix it. Short of grinding the heads off the ring nails and pulling the plank off and re-nailing it. Because you're not going to pull these ring nails out, that's for sure. Alright. Next plank. Next frame. Alright, so I want to put the nail in as low as I can on the plank without going through any sort of an overhang. If this plank is overlapping where the bevel starts on the plank before it, there'll be a bit of an overhang. So I don't want to put this nail through the plank out into the air and then into the next plank. So no overhang. And then I can see the top of the frame. And I know it's more or less level in the boat, vertical up and down, so I just sight down in line with the frame and put the hole in. And I'm using this backing block to get a good hit with the hammer. Alright, still in the right spot on the transom there. Good. Oh. Ouch. Alright, well, camera's still going. Let's see if I can pause that.